Welcome to the Fit Nutri podcast, your go-to source for all things healthy eating and nutritious living. I am your host, Rock, and each week, we bring you delicious meal ideas, expert tips, and inspiring stories to help you fuel your body and live your best life.
In today's episode, we are diving into how to lose weight in a week according to a dietitian. Today, guest Mr. Harper Russo and Ms. Julian Silva, exploring how you can make healthy meals easy, enjoyable, and satisfying. Whether you're a busy professional, a fitness enthusiast, or just someone looking to eat better, we've got you covered. So, grab your favorite snack and get ready to transform the way you think about food. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. You know those times when you just need to drop a few pounds fast? Well, a lot of you have sent in this article called How to Lose Weight in a Week According to a Dietitian. Yeah, I've seen that one floating around.
So we're going to dive into that today, see what's actually doable, what the science really says, and what you should think about before you try this.
Sounds like a plan. Let's get into it.
Now, the source makes it sound like, you can totally transform in just 7 days. Possible.
Well, it does say you can lose a noticeable amount of weight in a week, and that's true.
Okay, so it's not totally wrong.
Right, but we got to be clear on what kind of weight we're talking about. A lot of that initial loss, it's mostly water weight.
So not actual fat coming off.
Yeah, when you start a new diet, especially if you're cutting calories, your body's first instinct is to shed water. It looks impressive on the scale, but it's not like you're burning fat overnight.
Okay, got to manage those expectations.
Exactly. Think of it as jump-starting your weight loss, not some magic overnight transformation. Like
Right.
the source says, you can't just hack your metabolism or anything.
Right. Fat loss, that takes time and consistent effort.
Absolutely.
So if we're being realistic here, how much weight can someone actually expect to lose in a week?
Well, the source says a healthy range is about 0.5% to 1% of your body weight.
So what does that actually look like?
Let's say if you weigh 150 pounds, that's about a pound of weight loss. If you're 250, then we're talking closer to 2 pounds.
Okay, so not a huge makeover, but hey, a step in the right direction.
Exactly. Progress, not perfection.
Love that. So this whole calorie reduction thing, that seems to be the core of any weight loss plan, right?
It really is. And for good reason.
Why is that?
It's basic science, you see. To lose weight, you have to create this thing called a calorie deficit.
Calorie deficit.
Meaning you got to burn more calories than you're taking in, so your body has to tap into those fat stores for energy.
Makes sense. Like if you're spending less money than you earn, your savings account shrinks.
Exactly.
Okay, but the source also warns against dropping calories too low. I always thought lower calories, faster weight loss, right?
It seems logical, but it can backfire big time.
Really?
Yeah, when you slash those calories too drastically, it can mess with your metabolism. You might not get all the nutrients you need, and keeping the weight off long term, way harder.
So it's not sustainable.
Exactly. The source recommends cutting no more than 25% of what you normally need.
Okay, wait, what you normally need? Does this mean everyone has to start obsessing over calorie counting?
Not necessarily, but it's definitely useful to know your baseline.
Yeah, like a budget, right. You got to know how much you're working with.
Precisely. And hey, there are tons of calculators online that can estimate your daily calorie needs.
Handy. All right, I'm ready for these 7 easy ways to cut calories.
Let's do it.
First up, stop drinking your calories. Oof. That one might hit close to home for some of us.
Oh yeah, liquid calories, they're sneaky.
Yeah.
We focus so much on the food, we forget those lattes, sodas, cocktails, they all add up.
I never really thought about it that way.
Think about it. A coffee with sugar, a soda with lunch, a glass of wine at dinner.
That's already a lot, and I haven't even eaten.
Exactly. You could easily hit over 600 calories just from drinks.
Seriously? 600?
Yeah, just switching to water or unsweetened tea can make a huge difference.
Okay, next tip. Make half your plate veggies. Simple enough, right?
It is, but it's not just about the low calories in veggies.
Oh, there's more to it.
It's the fiber. Fiber keeps you feeling full, so you don't overeat.
So more veggies, less overall food.
Exactly. Win-win.
All right, stop snacking or grazing. That's got to be a tough one.
Well, it depends. We got to distinguish between mindful snacking and just mindlessly grazing.
Mindless. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. But what if you're actually hungry?
If you're truly hungry and you choose a healthy snack, it could be totally fine. It's the mindless eating that sabotages your efforts.
It's like, are you actually hungry or just bored?
Exactly. Asking yourself that question can make a big difference.
Good point. Okay, eat more protein. That seems to be in every diet plan ever.
Here's a reason for that. Protein helps you feel full for longer, way more than carbs or fats do.
So less snacking, basically.
Exactly. Plus, protein's crucial for building and maintaining muscle.
And more muscle means burning more calories, even when you're just chilling.
You got it.
Now, this one surprised me. Skip the cooking oil and butter. I've never really thought about the calories in oil.
It's easy to overlook. We often think about fats as the enemy, but all calories count, right?
True, true.
And oil, very calorie dense. 1 tablespoon, that's already 120 calories.
Wait, 1 tablespoon?
Yep. So you can imagine if you're pouring oil freely while cooking, those calories add up fast.
Sneaky little things. So what can you do instead?
There are so many great ways to cook without oil. Roasting, baking, grilling, air frying, you can get amazing flavor without all those extra calories.
I'm going to have to try some of those. All right, next one. Try intermittent fasting. That's super trendy right now, right?
It is. And it can be effective if you do it right.
So what's the deal with intermittent fasting? Explain it like I'm 5.
Okay, so it's basically a pattern of eating where you cycle between eating and fasting.
Like skipping meals.
It can be as simple as that. A popular method is the 168 approach. You fast for 16 hours, eat within an 8-hour window.
So you'd skip breakfast, have your first meal around noon.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It only works if you're actually mindful during your eating window.
So you can't just binge eat during those 8 hours.
No, not at all. It's about making healthy choices during your eating periods.
Gotcha. Last tip, achieve a healthy weight with meal delivery. Kind of sounds like cheating, but could it actually work?
You know, it can be a really helpful tool, especially if you struggle with meal prep or portion control.
Having those ready-made healthy meals.
Yeah, takes the guesswork out of it. And a lot of these services cater to different dietary needs, too.
Okay, so we've gone through all 7 tips. What are your overall thoughts?
I think they provide a good starting point.
Yeah.
But we got to remember they are tools, not magic wands.
Right. The key is finding what works for you and what you can stick with.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to weight loss.
So, finding that sustainable approach.
Yes. And shifting from a diet mindset to a lifestyle approach. We'll dive deeper into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Welcome back, everyone. Glad to be continuing our deep dive. You know, I'm really excited to dig more into this whole idea of building those long-term healthy habits.
Me too. In the last part, we laid some groundwork, but now it's time to really explore that lifestyle approach, right?
Exactly. Remember how we talked about shifting away from that diet mindset? The source really stresses that.
Yeah, it's not a temporary fix. It's about those lasting changes.
Right. Making those changes a part of your everyday life.
It makes sense, you know? I've tried all those crash diets, and they just don't work in the long run.
I hear you. You might lose some weight quickly, but then it all comes back and you feel defeated.
Exactly.
It's like, trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. It might look good for a while, but it's not going to last.
So what we need is a solid foundation.
Exactly. And that comes from consistency.
So making those healthy choices, even when you don't really feel like it.
Yeah, it's about finding a rhythm that you can maintain over time. Not about being perfect all the time.
Okay, so no more beating ourselves up over a little slip up.
Exactly. Remember that line from the source. Small changes, repeated consistently, add up to big results. It's those little things, day in and day out, that really make the difference.
It's not about one big grand gesture. It's those daily choices that add up over time. I'm starting to see how this goes beyond just cutting calories for a week, right?
Absolutely. It's about building a whole new way of life, a new way of thinking about food and your body.
Yeah, I'm really feeling that. So when the source talks about building a healthier relationship with food,
Yes. That's so crucial for long-term success.
what does that actually mean, though? Like, how do you build a healthy relationship with food?
Well, it's about moving away from those restrictive all-or-nothing approaches, the ones that make you feel deprived and miserable.
Oh, I've been there.
It's about finding that enjoyment in nourishing your body. You're choosing foods that make you feel good physically and mentally.
So it's not about labeling food as good or bad.
Right. It's about letting go of that guilt and finding a sense of balance and moderation.
I like that. It's about tuning into your body's cues and, like, honoring both your physical hunger and your emotional needs.
Yes. Making peace with food. Seeing it as something that nourishes and fuels you, not something to stress over.
Okay, and this all ties back to mindset, right? The source talks about how important that is for success.
Absolutely. Having a positive attitude and enjoying the journey. That's huge.
We all know that saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right. But now we're really understanding what that means. It's not just the physical part of losing weight, it's the mental and emotional journey as well.
It's a whole package deal.
It is. Weight loss is tough. There's no denying that. You'll have ups and downs, moments of frustration, even times when you just want to give up.
Oh, yeah, been there.
But if you go into it with a negative mindset, beating yourself up, it just makes it so much harder.
So we need to celebrate those small victories, be kind to ourselves, and remember that perfection isn't the goal.
Exactly. Focus on progress, not perfection. Enjoy the journey, even with all its twists and turns.
This conversation is seriously shifting my perspective. I'm realizing it's so much more than just following a set of rules.
It's about creating a lifestyle, right? One that supports your overall well-being.
Exactly. So as we start wrapping up this part of our deep dive, any final thoughts you want to leave us with?
Yes. Remember, everyone's journey is unique. What works for one person might not work for another.
It's all about personalization.
It is. Find what resonates with you, what fits your life, what brings you joy. Don't get caught up in comparing yourself to others.
Love that. Tune into your own body, find what feels right. Okay, so we've talked about building that healthy relationship with food, embracing the lifestyle approach, and now I think I'm ready to revisit those 7 calorie cutting tips.
Let's do it. And remember, as we go through them, think about how you can make them work for you. It's not about deprivation. It's about making choices that you can enjoy and that make you feel good.
Okay, stop drinking your calories. That one was a big eye-opener for me.
Yeah, those liquid calories can be so sneaky. Tell me, what do you usually drink throughout the day? Maybe we can find some healthier swaps.
Okay, well, I usually start with a large latte, with skim milk and sugar-free syrup.
Okay.
Then I'll have a diet soda or 2 during the day, and sometimes I'll have a glass of wine with dinner.
All right, let's break that down. Your latte, even with skim milk and sugar-free syrup, still has calories.
Oh, I didn't realize the sugar-free syrup had calories.
It does. It's always a good idea to check those labels carefully. Even the sugar-free stuff can add up.
Yeah.
Now, about those diet sodas. They're calorie-free, sure.
Yeah.
But some studies suggest that those artificial sweeteners might make you crave more sugary stuff later on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe try swapping one of those sodas for unsweetened iced tea or sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon or lime. What about your evening wine?
Oh, I love my evening glass of wine.
I get it. And you don't have to give it up entirely. It's about finding balance.
Right.
Maybe a smaller glass, or alternate with sparkling water or herbal tea. It's all about those mindful choices.
I like that. Okay, next tip. Make half your plate veggies. How do we actually make that happen?
Well, what are some of your favorite veggies?
I love roasted broccoli and sweet potatoes, and I really enjoy salads, especially with lots of toppings.
Those are all great. You could add different herbs and spices to your roasted veggies for a flavor boost, like garlic and Parmesan on the broccoli or smoked paprika on your sweet potatoes.
Oh, that sounds good.
And for salads, think about adding grilled chicken or fish for extra protein, or different textures with nuts, seeds, or cheese.
Ooh, I'm getting some good ideas already. All right, stop snacking or grazing. This one's tough. I love to snack.
I hear you. Remember, it's not about eliminating snacks entirely.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful. Ask yourself, am I really hungry? Or is it boredom, stress, or just habit?
I definitely stress eat. When I'm overwhelmed, it's like I just grab whatever's easy and comforting.
I understand that's emotional eating, it's real.
Yeah.
But recognizing it is the first step. Maybe we can explore some alternative ways to cope with stress later on, ways that don't involve food.
Definitely open to that. But what if I am actually hungry between meals?
Then, of course, have a snack. But make it a mindful one. Choose things that are both nutritious and satisfying.
Like what?
Well, think protein, fiber, healthy fats, handful of almonds with a piece of fruit, Greek yogurt with berries, veggie sticks with hummus.
That sounds way better than the bag of chips I usually go for.
Right, and those will actually keep you full and energized. Okay, let's talk protein. We already touched on eat more protein, but how much protein are we actually talking about?
That's a good question. I'm always a little confused about that.
A good rule of thumb is to aim for about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or 0.36 grams per pound.
Okay, so if I weigh 150 pounds.
That's about 54 grams of protein per day.
Got it.
And remember, protein doesn't have to come from meat. You can get plenty of protein from plants. Beans, lentils, tofu, nuts.
Okay, I'm learning a lot here. All right, let's revisit. Skip the cooking oil and butter. You talked about those sneaky calories. How can we cut back on oil in the kitchen?
First, become a label reader. You'd be surprised how much oil is hidden in packaged foods, dressings, sauces.
I wouldn't even think to look for that.
Right, it adds up. And when you're cooking, try roasting, baking, grilling, air frying. They all need very little oil or none at all.
Great tips. I'm ready to tackle try intermittent fasting. It seems so popular, but I need a reminder of how it works and why it's good for weight loss.
Sure. Intermittent fasting is basically a pattern of eating where you cycle between eating and fasting. It's not about changing what you eat, but when you eat.
Right, the 168 method, where you fast for 16 hours and eat within 8.
Exactly. You could finish dinner at 8 p.m., skip breakfast, and have your first meal at noon the next day.
Okay, sounds manageable. So why is this good for weight loss?
Well, when you restrict your eating window, you naturally eat less overall, especially if you're not overeating during your eating periods. Plus, some studies show it can have a positive impact on your hormones, making it easier to lose weight.
Oh, wow, interesting. So it's not just about the calories.
Right. It's also about the potential hormonal benefits.
It's amazing. Anything else I should know?
Well, it's not for everyone. Pregnant or breastfeeding women, people with certain medical conditions, or those on certain medications should talk to their doctor first.
Good point. Okay, last tip. Achieve a healthy weight with meal delivery. You've convinced me it could be a good option. What are the benefits?
Well, these services have gotten so much better. You get pre-portioned, healthy meals delivered right to you.
So convenient.
Right. Perfect for those who struggle with time, meal planning, portion control, or just don't love to cook. Plus, many cater to different diets, so you can find one that suits your needs.
So much variety now. Any tips for choosing a good one?
Definitely do your research. Read reviews, see what fits your budget and dietary needs. Check out the ingredients, the variety of meals, the delivery options.
Got it. I'm sold on meal delivery now. So we've revisited those 7 calorie-cutting tips. What are your final thoughts as we wrap up this part?
Remember, these tips are tools, not rules. Find what works for you, personalize them, make them enjoyable. Don't be afraid to experiment and adjust as you go.
It's all about finding what you can stick with. So we've talked about the healthy relationship with food, the lifestyle approach, those calorie-cutting tips. What's next on our agenda?
Well, in the final part of our deep dive, we'll talk about how to maintain that weight loss beyond the first week and really create that long-term plan.
Perfect. Can't wait. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into how to lose weight in a week, according to a dietitian. It feels like we've uncovered so much already.
We have. But, we've talked about that initial push to lose weight quickly. But what about keeping it off?
That's the real challenge, right? I mean, you lose the weight, you feel great, and then life happens.
It does. And those old habits can sneak right back in.
Exactly. The source talks about how maintaining weight loss, that takes real effort. It's a commitment to healthy choices every day, even when it's tough.
Absolutely. It's ongoing.
So how do you stay motivated? When that initial excitement wears off and those donuts start calling your name?
Well, remember, motivation, it comes and goes. Some days you'll feel supercharged. Other days you'll just want to give in.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
The key is to have those strategies in place, to help you navigate those moments and stay on track.
So like having a plan, anticipating those obstacles.
Exactly. The source talks about setting realistic goals.
Not trying to do too much too fast.
Right. Focus on those small, gradual changes that you can actually stick with. It's not about losing 20 pounds in a week. It's about making sustainable choices.
It all comes back to that lifestyle approach, doesn't it?
It does. And, it can be helpful to break down those big goals into smaller steps.
Okay, so instead of focusing on losing 20 pounds.
Right. Focus on maybe 1 or 2 pounds this week. Celebrate those small wins. It'll help you stay motivated.
I like that. Feels less overwhelming. But what about when you just want to give up? Those days when you feel like you're failing.
First of all, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Remember, setbacks happen. It's normal.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone slips up sometimes. Don't let one mistake derail your whole effort. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and move on.
So it's not about being perfect.
Not at all. It's about progress, not perfection. One meal, one day, that's not going to ruin everything.
It's about the big picture. The source also talks about finding activities you actually enjoy that support your goals.
Yes. It shouldn't feel like a chore. If you hate running, don't force yourself to run just because you think you should.
Right. Find something you like, something that fits your life.
Exactly. There's so many ways to move your body and have fun doing it. And speaking of fun, what about our social lives?
Oh, yeah, those can be tricky. So much revolves around food and drinks.
Right. But it doesn't have to sabotage your efforts. Plan ahead. If you're going out to eat, think about what healthy choices you can make.
Maybe scope out the menu beforehand.
Exactly. Or offer to bring a dish to a party that aligns with your goals. Or have a healthy snack before you go so you're not starving and tempted to overeat.
Those are good strategies. What about when you do decide to indulge? No one can be perfect all the time.
Absolutely. It's all about balance. Remember that healthy relationship with food. That includes enjoying those treats, but in moderation, without the guilt.
So it's a conscious choice, not just giving in to a craving.
Exactly. Savor those treats, really enjoy them, instead of mindlessly eating.
Be present, mindful.
Yes, no matter what you're eating.
I feel like we've covered so much valuable information in this deep dive.
Me too. And I hope our listeners are feeling empowered to really make those lasting changes.
It's not just about fitting into a smaller size. It's about feeling good, having energy, living a healthier life,
That's what it's all about.
taking care of ourselves, honoring our bodies.
Yes. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. There will be bumps along the way.
Ups and downs are part of it.
Exactly. Keep learning, keep experimenting, keep moving forward.
This deep dive has been so insightful, and I hope our listeners feel the same way. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic to explore. Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Thank you for listening Fit Nutri podcast. Like and share with your friends.